Well, hey, in this video, I'm going to share with you 2 pro tips for podcast editing that will double or triple your income. Not too long ago, the main way that I made a comfortable living was by editing podcasts and videos. And it doesn't take very long for an editor to find out that time is, in fact, money. And because most podcast editors will charge per episode, I realized that if I could cut the time in half that it took me to edit a podcast episode, that I could effectively double the amount of money that I made and also free up time to take on more clients. So I became obsessed. I started using a stopwatch. I would write down how much time each task took me and look for any way I could to save money. And over the years, I developed some incredible time-saving hacks. And in this video, I'm going to share the top 2 with you. These are legitimate pro hacks that you could put to use in your podcast editing today that will double or triple your income very quickly. Tip number 1, create a template for each project or each client. This one is really big, and by taking some time to build the template for each specific project, this can easily account for 10 to 20 minutes of savings per episode. And let's say you're working with 8 clients, editing 8 podcast episodes a week, that's 80 to 160 minutes of savings. That's over 2 hours every week that you're saving in time. There are many DAWs or digital audio workstations that allow you to use templates. A favorite of mine is Reaper FM. I love Reaper. I sing to the rooftops about Reaper. So let's hop into Reaper real quick and I'll show you exactly what I mean and how you can set up your own templates in Reaper. Okay, so here we are in a blank project in Reaper. Now let's say we have this amazing client podcast and we know that every single podcast they have a little intro piece. Kind of a mysterious guitar that plays at the beginning of their episode. And then we know that the average episode length is about 20 minutes from this client usually. So I can zoom out and I can go to about that 20-minute mark, looking at the time up here. And somewhere around 20 minutes, I can add the outro that they also like to have in every single episode. And now we can zoom in right here and you can see at 21 minutes and 20 seconds, I have this outro just waiting here for me. What we're really looking for here is repeated actions, meaning are there actions that we do with each episode that we're going to do every single time? And another one of those is applying effects to the main voice of our host. So we can pull in the episode 43 file that we got from the client, and we know that we always use the same effects because they're always in the same place using the same microphone. And even if they change locations, we're going to use the same basic effects. So what we can do is we can come in here to our effects panel and build our effects that we use every time. We could have a noise reduction or a series of noise reduction plugins. We would do our compression. We would do a de-esser every single time and dial that in right where we have our de-esser on this specific host. And of course, we've got to throw in some EQ and make those EQ adjustments that we always like to do with our low pass filter and those fancy things that we always throw in with our EQ unit on this particular voice. And we also know that on our master channel, which we can find down here, that we always have a limiter. So we would put our limiter on the master channel. Our out ceiling, we always like to put down to -1. And our threshold is usually always around -4 or -5. So now we have all of those movements that I just made that really do account for a few minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, every time you're creating a session. So now what I can do is I can actually delete this voice here. And now this would be a perfect little template for me to start my projects from. So anytime I have a new project from a client, I could use this template. And how to set that up in Reaper is you can come up here to where it says File, go to where it says Project Templates, and say Save Project as a Template. And here we would say Amazing Client, or whatever the name of their project is, and we would save it into Project Templates. And I say Save. Now this is a template. So let's go ahead and close this project and watch how the template magic works in action. So now we're back to where we started, just a blank session in Reaper. I just received the files from my client. All I have to do now is come up to where it says File, Project Templates, and look, Amazing Client now shows up. And now I have this ready to drag the new episode in. All the effects have already been applied. My intro and outro music is already there. And if you have a client with a co-host, and you could have 2 channels set up for the co-host and their specific effects and parameters that you use. And you can get very detailed with these templates, saving tons of time with every single episode. Tip number 2, listen back at double speed. This one is incredible and it's something that for many years I've been trying to unlock. and never really was able to push it to double speed. There's digital audio workstations like Pro Tools that have some hacks and some workarounds to get the audio that you're listening to, that you're editing, to play at a faster rate while still allowing you to make cuts. But it wasn't until I discovered and started using Descript that this even became possible. If you're unfamiliar with Descript, it allows you to edit podcasts and videos like you would a Word document. It creates a transcript of any file that you upload, and then underneath the transcript, it shows you the timeline. So you can still do timeline editing, or you can just cut out the words like you would in a Word document, and it will cut it out on the timeline as well. It's pretty magic. This alone is how I was able to boast getting my editing speed down to 1x or 1.1x, which means that for every hour of recorded time that the client shared with me, I could edit that into a professional podcast episode in 1 hour. And if you've been editing for any amount of time, or you've been editing your own podcast, you know that that's lightning fast, that's insane. So let's hop over into Descript real quick, and I'll share a podcast episode with you there, and I'll show you exactly what I mean, how you can listen to it in double speed and start unlocking this magic tool for yourself. Okay, so here we are in Descript, and this is an episode of our Content Hefe podcast. Yes, we have a podcast, and you can check that out by clicking on the I button thing here. But here you can play through the script and listen.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another tool that you may...
And if I wanted to make some of these mm-hms and you knows and cut out some sections here and make some edits, I can do that as I listen, and this is a great tool. But check this out over here. If you go to these 3 dots down here and select playback speed, you can go as fast as 3 times. I find 3 times makes it a little hard for me to continue to pay critical attention to detail, but 2 times is amazing. And now if I come up here, listen to what it sounds like.
There's probably going to even be a new tool because we're in that sort of elbow growth of the terms of all the different ways we can use this. And like if you look at ChatGPT, for example, there's already a whole giant list of Chrome extensions that now work with ChatGPT.
This is really great technology. This is still very cohesive, comprehensible, and not moving so fast that you can't make critical decisions. And even 3x speed is something you could experiment with, and that would make you even faster. Here's 3x.
People are now like Zapier, now integrated with ChatGPT, which means you can now use these chatbots, these conversational language robots to sort of respond to people in real time to generate content for you after it's been triggered by certain prompts. It's all about like prompt engineering now, how you can ask these.
How cool is that? I like to stay at 2x, like I said, because 3x, the nuances go away a little too much, and it makes it hard for me to make those critical, important decisions. But now, as you're listening in double speed, you can actually make the edits. And then by just editing like you would a Word document, selecting parts you don't want and deleting them. When you delete them here on the script, they go away from the timeline down here as well. And then when you're done, you can come up to the top right and click on Publish, where you have lots of different options. One of the options under Export, you can export the timeline, meaning that you can go to Pro Tools or look, Reaper. So now you can export this timeline, and all these WAV files will show up in the Reaper project, where you could easily apply your template there, and you could see how now we're cooking with gas. So I know those are pretty incredible tips, right? And I have a ton more tips that I've accumulated over the years, but these 2 have got to be the big time savers. So I wanted to share those for you because I want to encourage you to become a podcast editor professionally if you're not already. It's an extremely high in-demand job, and podcast editing is a stackable skill, meaning it's a transferable skill. So if you stack other skills on top of it, you become even more valuable, and you could charge really impressive and premium rates for your work. If you need a reality check and want to find out if this is a realistic option for you, we have a free mini online course that you can take called Pod Sound School's Podcast Edit Lab. You can find the link in the description below, or go to podcastingsmart.com/free edit lab. This is a hands-on learning experience designed to give you a taste of podcast editing. We provide you with actual audio files that you get to mix and edit yourself. And by the end of the course, you actually complete and export your own MP3 podcast episode and submit it to us for feedback. So are you up for the challenge? Do you have what it takes to be a podcast editor? Sign up for the mini course and find out. Give me a thumbs up for those amazing 2 tips, and keep coming back and checking in with us each week. We have really helpful videos here for creative professionals like podcast editors. And until next time, happy editing.